Trump gives out on me.
I thought you were going to debate Joe Biden.
Thank you for allowing me to be here to present myself to you. I am running for assessor for Kootenai County. I'm a lifelong Republican. I registered as a Republican at, I don't remember what age I was, but it was as soon as I could register to be a voter, I did. At the end of next month, it'll make 24 years that I've lived here in Kootenai County. I have 20 years of administrative experience and leadership experience at the county level. For over 20 years, I have both experience in real estate as well as Fortune 100 corporations. My experience was as a purchasing purchasing buyer, category manager. I'm now serving as the current Kootenai County. In early May of 2020, I attended the Central Committee meeting, very impromptu, last minute. My name, I was presented as a nominee before the committee, along with, I believe it was 6 or 7 other individuals. The committee asked questions. I responded to the questions. I was humbled by one of the questions in particular that Phil Thompson asked me, and that is, have I ever read, or did I believe in the Republican Party platform? I admitted at that time I had not, but I have read it since. And I find nothing in the Republican Party platform, and that is the 2016, is the last that I could find, that I see nothing in there that I disagree with. I also have read and agree with the Idaho State Republican Party platform, 2020 version. My name was submitted along with Roger and Bjorn to the Board of County Commissioners, and after completing a public interview, I was voted in as the new Kootenai County Assessor to fulfill the remaining term of Rich Hauser after his unfortunate passing. It was a rather tumultuous year in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic. The assessor's office had been closed approximately the 18th of April, which was about 1 month before I took office. Once I got into office, I took actions to steadily open and reopen the vehicle licensing division. After about 10 years in the making, the Idaho Transportation Department rolled out with a new computer system called the GEM system in October. That was not a very unflawed implementation, shall we say. There were lots of challenges. There were lines. We had mass immigration of people from all of the other states on the West Coast. Long lines, COVID outbreaks, and we had to close the office more than one time due to some outbreaks in the office, and I myself came down with it. Leading up to the years before my appointment, began a number of retirements in the office, in the assessor's office. When I came in there, the entire staff of managers that I had in place were all new in their capacities. The wave of retirements just continued to the point now where we have approximately, we have 15 appraisers in the residential division. That is the same number that we had according to the org chart that I found in 1994. I did go before the Board of County Commissioners last year in adopting this budget and asked for 2 more appraisers. They graciously granted that to us in the residential division. I also asked for 1 commercial appraiser. They did agree to grant that. So we are now up to 3 in the commercial division. But the retirements and the wave of retirements continues. It is one of the positives of having a very stable department with a lot of employees that stay there for a long time. They eventually reach the point of retirement, and that's what we're facing right now. I'd like to talk a little bit also about the having right now we're at about 50% of new appraisers, I said. So about 5 new appraisers. They're trainees. They're in the process of becoming certified tax appraisers. It takes about a year worth of work for them to do it in order to be certified by the state of Idaho. You have to complete 1 year of work as an appraiser. You have to sit for 2 courses, and you have to successfully pass an exam. Until that time, those trainees have to work under the supervision of certified appraisers, which is a little bit of a drain on the more experienced, seasoned certified appraisers. When I came on board, I met one-on-ones with all of the staff. I have not even completed that with every single person, but I met with every single appraiser in the residential division. And based upon the feedback that I received from them, I identified that we needed to definitely address staffing issues, cross-training, prepare a lot of written documentation, because apparently a lot of the documentation for the manual work processes we have in place have not been reduced to writing. They were initially reduced to writing, but with subsequent changes to the computer system, it did not continue on, and those updates were not made. With the retirements that we're having, we are now having to capture that institutional knowledge and document it so that we can retain it for our succession plan. A little bit more about myself. As a Republican, I did mention that I support the Idaho Republican Party platform. I am committed, I call those Idaho values. I'm committed to Idaho values and to the people and freedoms that made this area a great place to live, work, and play. I believe that we are here in Kootenai County. What we have here is the gold standard, and I think that should be the standard for the rest of Idaho as well as the nation. As the Kootenai County elected assessor, I will strive to ensure that property values are assessed fairly and at the lowest possible level as permitted by state law. State law allows for plus or minus 10% of market value. State law mandates that they should be at market value, but there is a range of acceptability. That our assessment values are then reviewed in a ratio study, which is monitored and reviewed by the tax commission. And if we're not within that plus or minus 10%, they can come in and make adjustments. We'd like, as a target, to be at the lower end of that, and that has been the previous goal, and I believe it makes sense to continue doing that. I will also advocate, and I'm prepared to testify for the passage of sensible laws and policies that are fair, balanced, and that promote lean and efficient government. And with a government of size that will meet the needs of the community. We are a growing community. People are coming, they will come, and they need houses, they need places to live. I will also advocate for laws and policies that will avoid or preclude, to the best extent possible, the shifting of tax burden and responsibility from one class of properties to another. As the former director of purchasing of Spokane County, I was responsible for countywide procurements of approximately 80 million to 120 million per year, and that varied depending upon the budgets. I have 2 certifications, one as a certified purchasing manager through the Institute of Supply Management, and a certified public procurement officer through the National Institute of Governmental Purchasers. I have been licensed as a real estate agent in Colorado, Washington, and Idaho for a combined total length of about 20 years. I have a Bachelor of Science degree of economics from Arizona State University, and my combination of education and experience I feel has suitably prepared me for the role of county assessor. On February 7th, a 5-year plan was developed by my office in concert with my managers. And we submitted that to the Idaho State Tax Commission as required by state law. The plan was also shared with the Board of County Commissioners. The 5-year plan outlines the work of the Assessor's Office that will be executed over the course of the next 5 years. And it also addresses the computer system and the shortcomings of the existing computer system. I have worked with the Board of County Commissioners to get a contract in place to hire an expert consultant to take a look at our system, to address the shortcomings of the issues, and to make recommendations. I hope to have those recommendations presented to me by the end of March, and I will include that in my, I will develop a strategic plan for the future for the department. once I have those findings, like I said, I'll do the strategic plan. I'd just like to finish by saying, I know the importance of bringing people together and in building on their strengths by providing them with the resources and tools that they need so that we can achieve success. And with that, I will open myself up to questions that people have.
Mr. Rasmussen?
It's been my understanding that there have been changes in the things that you're supposed to follow, like legal changes, maybe the circuit breaker comes to mind, some of those kind of things that affect the taxpayers. And I was just wondering, what, if any, other assessors have you worked with in changing state policies or any other governmental or private entities you've worked with in regard to keeping the taxes low?
So I've talked to Bob McQuaid, I talked to Brian Stender, the next two largest counties that are larger than us. I deal with all, I'm on a constant forum or a thread that all of us assessors, we communicate together. The referent, or the circuit breaker I believe you're referencing is House Bill 389, which was adopted last year. It became effective this year. In regards to addressing those changes, I have communicated with the about 218 residents in this area that are adversely impacted by that, by writing a letter to them to let them know. We don't know, of course, what the assessed values are for this calendar year until June, because the law is effective this year. But what we did is we looked at the 2021 values, and we calculated the median value, which was $436,600. And out of that, anybody whose home's value is above that was bounced out of the program. So that was about 218. That letter that I communicated to them with, I just let them know about what the situation was about. I provided them with their contacts for their state legislators and their senators, and encouraged them if they felt that they needed the program to go ahead and tell their story and write to their representative.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You go ahead, Michael.
It's your first election, right?
It is.
So you don't really know what's ahead yet. And it's probably the least favorite position of anybody running there. Right?
Probably.
I wish you luck. He's a
Senator
friend.
Souza had a question. Go ahead.
I really don't have a question, I just wanted to make a statement because Bela was down in Boise for the county assessors were all in town. And I'm on the tax committee, and he texted me and he said, hey, we would love to talk with you about property tax, if you can come over. It was like a half an hour later. I had half an hour to get there, and I had another committee, so I couldn't go. But I told the chair of the tax committee, because we were just wrapping up our committee meeting that minute, and I told him what Bela had done, and he went over, and there was a roundtable discussion of the assessors and the chair of the Senate Tax Committee, who we are working on property tax. So the timing was wonderful. I think they had, from what I heard, that you had a really good conversation.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying that Bela he reached out in a helpful way and wasn't afraid to say, it wasn't your territory and our territory. And sometimes we get that from cities and counties when we're at the state level. So I really appreciate it, and I think it benefits everyone.
And I'd like to tag in on that. Thank you, Mary, for saying that. And actually what happened it was the midwinter legislative conference in Boise. During, I think it was the last day of the luncheon, I actually got a brainstorm. It was my first time attending a session like that. I actually went up to Seth Grigg, who is the leader, the executive director for Idaho Association of Counties, and I asked him. I noticed that on the agenda was a roundtable discussion, and I asked him, is there any problem with inviting state legislators to that? He said no, the more the better. So I went back to my table during the lunch, and I actually pounded out 9 emails. I sent one email to every single representative for Kootenai County. All of our senators, all of our representatives from the House of Representatives, and Mary Souza went ahead and forwarded on to Representative Jim Rice. who then attended. Representative Tony Wisniewski attended. Representative Jim Addis attended. Because it was a last minute thought in my mind to reach out and extend that hand to our representatives, not all were able to attend. I did get some emails from the other ones that were not able to attend, thanking me. And in the evening, I had Senator Steve Vick come up to me and shake my hand and said, "Bela, thank you for doing that. That's the first time that has ever happened." My approach will be to reach out to the representatives to try and find workable solutions that are to the benefit of our community. And I will take that approach every time.
Thank you very much.